So now we move to New York, one of the most famous franchises in basketball. They play in the Garden. Everybody knows what you mean when you say the Garden. I'm talking about the one, the only New York Knicks. Now, I get it. I get it. They blew out the 76ers last night. I saw it. And I know OG Anunoby was out for a few of these games. However, still, right, Teddy, the Mecca. Still, what happened is still crazy. So, we all know that they started a podcast. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson called The Roommates Show. It's on YouTube. If you have not seen it, make sure you go check it out. I do like the show. It is a nice show. However, since the podcast started, they've had a losing record as a team. So you guys want to know what that record is? Well, let's say they started off 1-5. Since then, they've been 6-5 since they started off 1-5. So they've improved a little bit. I do understand that. But let me tell you some of the teams that they lost to during this stretch. The Lakers, who are in the play-in right now. The Mavericks, who are also in the play-in. Pacers, this is the number one scoring team in the NBA right now, so I'm not too surprised about that. The Rockets, one of the worst teams in the West. The Magic has improved, so a really good Magic team. Celtics are a really good team. Pelicans, good team. The Warriors, play in. Hawks, play in. And the 76ers without Joel Embiid. They have been 7-10 since the podcast started. Now, this is not a team I believe is going to be here for long because OG Anunoby is back, and I believe they're going to get back to their winning ways, even with Julius Randle not being back just yet. But I think this team, the timing may seem off, but this has been brewing for a little bit while. I just, they slipped my mind about me putting them on them in previous episodes. So I'm talking about them now. More than likely, they'll be gone by next week. I just feel like I have to talk about what's been going on with this team. Like I said, the podcast has been really good. It's just they have not been winning the entire time. And that's all. The Knicks are, to me, a good team, and they are top 5, top 6 in the East right now. Number 4. So I get it. I'm already certain that I'm going to get some flack when it comes to this. But this is just what I've known. They weren't that good after the podcast started. This is what they said. They said it themselves. 1-5 since the podcast. 7-10 now. I believe that they're going to surpass this and get better, but I just had to talk about it. So, Knicks, this is why you're in the doghouse. Tony, what's your thoughts?
I want to pass on this one. No, I'm joking. It's the Knicks. I got to talk about them. I hate the Knicks. I hate them with a passion. However, I would say this right here. Give them a slight pass, right? I know why you're right. They should be in the doghouse. They were like 5-7 in their last 12 games or something like that. Then, but Brunson's been hurt, and they're kind of getting people back. I don't think it's going to matter. Now, this was what it's not so much as these two guys coming back, right? It's it's not so much about them guys coming back, right? Right. I'm not so it's whether or not the people, the players around them were able to grow up in their absence. That's going to determine where the Knicks are going to be at. Because they can win without Julius Randle,
Mm-hmm.
right? They can win without Julius Randle, but the problem is who's going to take that slack, who's going to fill that role, and that's where it's going to be, right? That's what's going to be with that team. They may, and I think they're going to slip a little bit more. They still got to get continuity, so they're going to slip a little more. I don't see them going any further down than fifth. I see Orlando probably, depending on how Orlando's going to play, because Orlando's been playing, hasn't been consistent for a while. Shout out to the Pacers for beating them. But
Well, the Magic were like 9-1 since the All-Star break, so they've been pretty consistent.
They've had some games where I figured they've laid down and should have won, but you know, no, they're not. They lost a couple games now, but
maybe 9 and maybe 10-3 now, but
something like that. Yeah, but the thing is it's going to, the Knicks are going to go as far as Jalen Brunson takes them. That's just clearly what's going to happen. It's going to be as far as Jalen Brunson takes them. So we got to just see how it turns out. I don't know about them being in a doghouse, just because of the injuries. They've been a depleted team, right? Now, I will say that they probably should have concentrated more on basketball than a podcast, but but I don't think that hampered their play on the floor. It's just the fact that
I just think they've been losing. So I said I just think they've been losing. It's not more so about the podcast. I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, but they're losing is, because of the injuries. When you lose your top three, your top three's not on the floor. Unless you have people that join it now. Like the other night, I was watching and I saw like in the first quarter, Hart had like 8 points, 5 rebounds, and like 4 assists or something like that. Right. That's good. You see he's stepping up, and playing. I think it was last night against the 76ers, I believe. And I saw that, I didn't watch the game because, well, it's the Knicks. I'm not watching them. But, what I'm saying? It was just, if you just look at their depleted bench. Now, here's the one thing I know, right? I think their injuries is actually a plus for them.
A plus?
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Here's why I say that is a plus for them. Although they do have those injuries and stuff like that, the players that they need to be fresh will be fresh because Tom Thibodeau won't run them into the ground before playoff time. So those key players won't be tired and won't be able to play because that's pretty much how they lost last. They lost in the playoffs. They were just dead. They had no legs. It's because Thibodeau runs them into the ground. It's just true. So it may be a plus for them, to have these injuries, have players that they able to step up, right? Step up and play better because they know they had to play without them and learn how to play without them. And then when you add them back in the mix, it may actually be a plus one. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm going to watch them. Actually, Dan, as you mentioned them, I'm going to watch them over the next 10 games. I'm actually going to check out some games, check out some highlights with them, and then after that, let's revisit this right here with the Knicks and see whether they're in the doghouse at that point in time. Let's give them a few games to get themselves back together.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to get out. I don't think they'll be in here.
Who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows?
They
could be 2-8 the next 10 games, and you'd be like, "What happened?"
That's true. So, they could be. They could be. It's just I expect them to play. Like I said, OG is back. They pretty much play better when he's on the floor. I think they're like 13-2 since he's been on the team. So that team they play better when he's there. So I'm expecting them to be better. Like I said, the timing just seems off because they just blew out the 76ers by like 30 last night. So I get it, but for me, it was more so about the consistency. And yes, they have had injuries, but I still think even with the injuries, they should have been able to beat a few of these teams.
Yeah, I can see a few of those teams they should have beaten, but you know, and it's hard to beat. So, like you said, most of the games, some of the games they lost to teams when they were playing with their superstar in the Garden, and everybody shows up to play in the Garden. Everybody wants to get in Spike Lee's face. Everyone wants to do it. Every star wants to get in his face. So Curry came out and shot the way he shot in that game because he was in the Garden, and what was going on? Spike Lee was there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just what happens. It's the same thing that Reggie Miller used to do there. Same thing Jordan used to do there. You know what I'm saying? They want to show off at the Garden.
Bron, Melo, D-Wade, Kobe.
Can I break the record? Can I break the scoring record at the Garden? Everybody was choking.
At the Mecca.
So I give them a slight pass. I do think they should have played better. I do think it's more so coaching, but and adapting. So, but I think the injuries may actually bode well for them because Brunson's not going to be as tired as he was.
Well, we will see. New York Knicks, you are in the doghouse, but I'm not expecting you to be here long. You're actually one of the few that I put in that I expect you to come out pretty soon. Pause. I know somebody watching this is going to say something about me saying that, but yeah.
I don't know about the next team.
Yeah, I don't know either. But Knicks,
I like this one. Move on to the next one. Let's go to the next one.
Knicks, welcome to the doghouse. My guy, you in the doghouse. Okay.